In today's video, home sales are down 41%, whereas property days on market are up 41%. Prices down all over with the exclusion of two specific areas. That and much more, as always, with the TREB Resale Market Report. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Realtron Realty Inc. As always, welcome back to another video on this channel. If you are new to this channel, my name is Sam. Nice to meet you. You can find my contact information on the screen and in the description box as well. On this channel, I like to talk all things Toronto real estate and GTA real estate, market trends, market stats, building reviews, buyer-seller advice, and so much more. So if you find this content informative, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And if you want to get in touch with me, feel free to just do a little bit of your own homework and simply type my name into Google, go through my Google reviews from the people who have worked with me and continue to work with me to this day. Anyways, enough of all that important but annoying self-promotion. Let's get to the point of today's video, which is off the top. According to the TREB Resale Market Report for the month of June, sales were down 41% in June of 2022, year over year. That's right, sales fell from 11,000 to 6,000. Now, obviously that's year over year. Month over month though, sales are still down as well. Because in May, month over month, we had 7,200 sales. So on both fronts, year over year and month over month, sales are down. And I've covered this in more detail based upon area and location in my most recent videos. Go check those out. While sales are down 41%, what is actually up 41%, interestingly enough, is property days on market. This measures the average amount of days a given listing, a given property available for sale, whether it's a condo or a detached, stays on the market across the GTA. And here, property days on market went from 17 year over year, increase of 41%, to the average days of 24. So thus far, we have established that less properties are selling and more properties are staying on the market for a longer period of time, edging towards a verification of what I called a couple of months and videos back a buyer's market. Because two elemental signs of a buyer's market are a low amount of sales and a longer period of time where inventory stays available for sale. And we have to measure the low amount of sales relative to the total new listings. And here we see total new listings did not dip and did not increase. It stayed pretty much even. That's right, in 2022, June of 2022, there was about 16,000 new listings, which is a 1% increase marginal. We can just call it even from June of 2021. So maybe this hasn't really sunk in yet, but let's really understand what we're saying here. June 2021, there was 16,000 listings. June 2022, there's 16,000 listings. Yet in June 2022, 40% less sales. So clearly, once again, the criteria for a buyer's market where we look at sales to listing ratios, well, less properties are selling relative to the amount of listings. In conjunction with what we just covered in terms of properties staying on the market for a longer period of time. And once again, keep in mind, this is GTA at large, right? Across all property types, but prices, well, with regards to the average sold price across all property types, across all areas, well, the average sold price is up 5.3% year over year, going from $1,088,000 in June of 2021 to $1,146,000. And that's frankly not surprising at all, because even though the market has completely corrected, it still hasn't corrected to the point where prices are down year over year. And this is whether we look at condos in Bay Street in April, semis in Mississauga in May, whatever criteria, whatever metric, whatever property type you want to use, year over year prices are still higher. That's why I have not gone as far as to call this what has occurred thus far a crash, yet a correction. And why is it a correction? Because although year over year prices are still up, month over month from peak market conditions, prices are down. And here we have an average sold price that is up 5% year over year, but month over month, we see a dip of about 5.5% in average sold price, because in May of 2022, the average sold price was at $1,212,000. And here, according to this bar graph that I keep and I update on a monthly basis, along with so many other graphs and charts that I update and keep, where you can actually find in my newsletter. If you go subscribe to my newsletter, the link is in the description. Nonetheless, here we see that since peak market for all property types, which was in February, we have seen a precipitous and steady decline in average sold prices. I mean, February average sold prices across all property types were at 1.334. Now we're looking at, once again, at 1.146. And the area that has been impacted the most, if we break down prices by area, insofar as the detached market is concerned, is without a doubt York Region. York Region, month over month, is down 21%. Almost 35% from peak market conditions. The average sold price of a detached property in February of 2022 in York Region, accounting for Richmond Hill, Vaughan, and Markham, was at 1.9. Now the average is down to 1.3. And here, once again, we see average sold prices on the screen across all areas. Well, not every single areas, but the major areas. GTA-Y, Toronto, Toronto East, Toronto West, Toronto Central, Durham, Peel, York Region, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, so on and so forth. Nonetheless, the area that actually has held up the best is Toronto, particularly Toronto Central and Toronto West. Now, Toronto Central is down into June. There's no doubt about that. But if we look at since peak market conditions, once again in February, we see that Toronto on average on a monthly basis has been holding its own relatively well compared to definitely every other area we're looking at right now, right? Into June, what's actually up though is Toronto West. And in my next video, which I will look at condo numbers specifically, we see the same thing applies with regards to Toronto West. Toronto West condos are actually up as well. So what has performed the best in sharp contrast to the suburbs and Peel, Durham, York Region is Toronto proper, particularly Toronto Central and Toronto West. It is definitely a buyer's market. Right now, it is the time for buyers who have not fallen too much in terms of borrowing power, who can actually afford the increase in monthly in terms of if they're going with a variable, of course, and fixed as well, for those buyers to act. Because as we see here, we're getting prices at major discounts for a lot of property types in a lot of areas. And it is much better to buy at much lower prices with higher rates as opposed to the alternative, which is to buy at much higher prices and much lower rates. Because in the short term, yes, if you buy at much lower prices with higher rates, your monthly payments will be longer, but rates will not stay that high for a long period of time. So your savings on the purchase price lasts forever, whereas, your monthly payments, especially if you're on variable, is not set to last forever. And this is not even speaking of all the other advantages in today's market for a buyer in terms of due diligence clauses. I am negotiating for conditional offers in terms of inspection, a proper inspection report, financing, other forms of due diligence such as surveys, right? Or for my investor builder clients, taking a look at the builder's binder for up to 2 weeks. Right now is a very buyer advantageous market and a good time to buy low. And I'm not saying there should be a rush because there's another major rate hike coming July 13th. Nonetheless, today's market and going forward past July into the fall, I foresee it being a very buyer advantageous market and a great time to buy low. So anyways, let me know if you have any further questions about topics covered in this video. As always, feel free to get in touch with me with any further questions. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review if you happen to enjoy this video. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.